Welcome to a new episode from English Plus Podcast. Today we're going to talk about understanding the dynamics of international business negotiations. What if I told you that closing a business deal in one country could look completely different from closing the same deal in another? What if the handshake, the small talk, and the negotiation strategies that work so well in your home market suddenly fell flat on that international stage? Welcome to the complex, often unpredictable world of international business negotiations, where culture, language, and local customs can make or break a deal. Imagine you're an executive from a US-based company heading to Tokyo to finalize a partnership with a Japanese firm. You're used to fast-paced negotiations where getting straight to the point and driving a hard bargain is seen as a sign of strength. But when you walk into that Tokyo boardroom, things feel different. The conversation starts with long, polite small talk. No one rushes into the deal. And when you finally do begin discussing terms, the Japanese executives don't seem interested in haggling or making quick decisions. They want to carefully consider every detail, in a way that feels almost painstaking to you. And suddenly you realize this isn't just about the deal itself, it's about the process. This is the dance of international negotiations, where knowing the right step can make all the difference. Now let's dive into the heart of what makes international negotiations so dynamic. First, it's all about culture. In some countries, like the US, negotiations are often seen as a direct, competitive process. You state your terms, the other party counters, and you meet somewhere in the middle. But in many Asian countries, negotiation is about building relationships first. It's not just the terms of the deal, it's about trust, respect, and the long-term partnerships. This difference in approach can be jarring if you're not prepared for it. If you're too aggressive, you risk offending your counterparts. But if you're too passive, you might miss your window to close the deal. Take China, for example. In Chinese business culture, the concept of guanxi is central. Guanxi refers to the deep, long-term relationships and networks of trust that are built over time. In negotiations, this means that the process may involve multiple meetings, dinners, and social interactions before any real discussion of the deal begins. If you try to rush the process, you could come across as impatient and disrespectful. But if you take the time to build guanxi, you set the foundation for a successful partnership that could last for years. Now let's look at a completely different dynamic. Germany. German business culture is often characterized by precision, logic, and directness, and in a negotiation, the expectation is that you will come prepared with facts, data, and a clear, rational argument. There's no room for fluff or emotional appeals here. German negotiators want transparency, efficiency, and well-structured agreements. Small talk? Keep it minimal. It's all about the business at hand. If you're used to a more casual or relationship-focused style of negotiation, this can feel intense. But it's crucial to adapt if you want to succeed. Then there's Brazil, where personal connections and a relaxed approach to time can play a huge role in the negotiation process. Meetings might not start on time, and negotiations may involve a lot of back and forth, often mixed with friendly, casual conversations. Building rapport is key, and business deals are often seen as extensions of personal relationships. Here, flexibility and patience are essential, because trying to force a deal through rigid timelines could backfire. So how do you navigate these diverse approaches without getting lost in translation, both literally and culturally? It starts with preparation. Before entering any international negotiation, take the time to learn about the cultural norms, business etiquette, and negotiation styles of the country you're dealing with. What's considered polite? What's seen as rude or disrespectful? In some cultures, maintaining eye contact is a sign of confidence, while in others, it can come off as confrontational. Understanding these nuances can give you a significant advance and help you avoid any unintentional missteps. But it's not just about culture. It's also about strategy. In international negotiations, flexibility is key. You might enter a negotiation with a clear idea of your ideal terms, but you need to be ready to adapt as the conversation unfolds. Sometimes the best deals come from unexpected compromises or creative problem solving that you hadn't considered at the outset. And in some cases, the real negotiation might happen not in the boardroom, but at a dinner, a social event, or even during casual conversations over coffee. And let's not forget the importance of communication. Language barriers can create misunderstandings, even when both parties are speaking a shared language like English. Subtle differences in phrasing, tone, and body language can lead to confusion or misinterpretation. In these situations, clarity is your best ally. Don't assume anything. Make sure to confirm and reconfirm the details, even if it feels repetitive. And when possible, work with a skilled interpreter who understands both the language and the cultural context. One of the best examples of successful international negotiation comes from the automotive industry. When Nissan and Renault entered into a partnership, they faced significant cultural and operational differences. Japanese and French business cultures couldn't be more different. But through careful negotiation, mutual respect, and a deep understanding of each other's cultures, they built one of the most successful automotive alliances in the world. They didn't just negotiate a deal, they negotiated a relationship. So here's where I leave you with a question. How prepared are you for the complexities of international business negotiations? Are you ready to adapt, to listen, to understand not just the terms of the deal, but the cultural dynamics behind them? Because in global business, the best negotiators aren't just skilled at making deals, they're skilled at building bridges across cultures. So what's your next move? And with that, my friends, we come to the end of today's episode. And remember, this is just a part of what we talk about in EnglishPlusPodcast.com and in our English Plus podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Patreon, and on all podcast listening platforms. So if you want to listen to the entire, for example, from this series, Modern Business English, or as we call it in the podcast, The Story of Modern Business, you can access all the series and along with all the back catalog by becoming a premium subscriber on Apple Podcasts or Patreon. Now, if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell icon so that you don't miss any of our future videos. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. And remember, never stop learning with English Plus.